Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're a procurement officer, a fire chief, or honestly, just a focused learner fascinated by heavy machinery, you already know that buying emergency vehicles is, well, it's a high-stakes game. Today, we're going to demystify the whole process. We're breaking down a complete beginner's guide on how to actually buy fire trucks from China, taking you straight from that very first blueprint all the way to final delivery.
Purchasing a specialized vehicle across borders involves more than a simple transaction. It requires a deep understanding of automotive engineering, firefighting standards, and international logistics. Now, that really hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? We aren't just buying a standard delivery van here. Getting your hands on high-performance fire apparatus is this massive global shift. It's an intricate balancing act. You're trying to match advanced, life-saving tech with municipal cost efficiency, which means you basically have to wear the hat of an engineer, a logistics expert, and a compliance officer all at the exact same time. The global procurement shift, matching vehicle to mission, the anatomy of reliability, navigating international compliance, the procurement pipeline, long-term value and support. Okay, let's dive into this roadmap. We're going to cover everything from the structural nuts and bolts to the logistical red tape.
Section 1. The Global Procurement Shift.
Section 2. Matching vehicle to mission. Over the last few years, the global landscape for emergency vehicle procurement has completely transformed. China has really emerged as this primary, heavily relied upon hub, mostly because they offer a pretty incredible balance of advanced technology and budget-friendly scalability. But before you even start looking at suppliers, remember, fire trucks are absolutely not one-size-fits-all machines. Manufacturers categorize these highly engineered platforms based on what they actually do. You've got your water tank trucks. Those are your standard high-capacity workhorses for urban and rural spots. Then there are foam trucks. These use AFF systems, that's aqueous film-forming foam, specifically designed for Class B liquid fires, like at industrial plants or airports. Rescue trucks are a totally different beast. They often skip the large water tanks entirely and pack hydraulic cutters, generators, and lighting masts for urban search and rescue. And finally, aerial platforms, which feature telescopic booms for high-rise intervention. So, defining your exact local fire risks, that completely dictates the build of your machine.
Section 3. The Anatomy of Reliability.
To truly understand what you're buying, you gotta look way past that shiny red paint job. The most critical underlying component is, without a doubt, the chassis. It's the literal foundation. It dictates your gross vehicle weight capacity and how easy it's gonna be to maintain. We're generally looking at three main tiers. First, premium international brands like Isuzu, Mercedes-Benz, and MAN. Absolutely fantastic for international serviceability and high-intensity urban use. Next, you have top-tier domestic brands like Sinotruk, Schachmann, and Dongfeng. These are great for heavy-duty industrial use because of their excellent torque. And finally, mid-tier domestic brands like Foton and Jack, which are solid for light-duty or strict budgets. Oh, and one quick thing to keep in mind. Engineers strongly recommend a 4x4 or 6x6 drive for rugged terrains. You need to make sure the engine horsepower can actually handle a fully loaded water tank, plus the power demands of your PTO or power takeoff system.
The fire pump, the heart. Now, what's really interesting here is that if the chassis is the foundation, the fire pump is undeniably the heart of the truck. Let's get right into the internal mechanics. Pump performance is usually measured in liters per second or gallons per minute, typically hitting around 1.0 megapascals of pressure. Now, while atmospheric pressure pumps are the standard, a lot of your mid to high-end models feature integrated normal and low pressure pumps. Why does that matter? Well, it allows for high-pressure fogging, which gives you incredibly rapid cooling in a live fire scenario. It's a real game changer. And we absolutely can't forget the tanks holding all that water. If you're operating in a high-salt coastal environment, a standard carbon-sealed tank just won't cut it. Even with a thick anti-corrosion coating, it'll just eat right through. You really need to prioritize stainless steel 304 or 316L, or even GRP, which is glass-reinforced plastic, to prevent premature rusting.
The fire monitor, the cannon. Working right in tandem with the heart is the cannon, the roof-mounted fire monitor. The absolutely crucial thing to understand here is that this monitor must perfectly match the pump's output to function properly. Otherwise, you literally just have a very expensive roof ornament. For standard water monitors on medium-sized trucks, there are some pretty strict benchmarks. First off, it must achieve a full 360-degree rotation angle, giving operators complete directional control. And crucially, it needs an effective throw range of at least 50 meters. That 50-meter mark is your absolute benchmark for ensuring the safety of your crew while maintaining maximum operational effectiveness. Section 4, Navigating International Compliance. Let's see how all this physical engineering builds into the administrative side of things. Is a vehicle built for one region legal in another? Pivoting away from the nuts and bolts, we arrive at the million-dollar question. The harsh reality is that a technically perfect, beautifully engineered truck is completely useless to you if it's just sitting impounded at a port because it doesn't meet your local road, environmental, or safety regulations. To avoid that absolute nightmare, you really have to understand the compliance matrix. First up, there's CCC certification, which is mandatory for basic safety in the Chinese market. Then ISO 9001 and 14001, which handle manufacturing management. But here's where it gets highly specific. While domestic trucks follow China's GB standards, top exporters can actually customize the builds to meet strict European EN 1846 or North American NFPA 1901 parameters. And perhaps most importantly, emission standards. You have to verify this. Many countries now strictly prohibit the import of vehicles below Euro 4 or Euro 5 standards. If the engine doesn't match your local environmental laws, the truck simply cannot be imported. End of story.
Section 5, the procurement pipeline.
Buying a fire truck isn't exactly like clicking Add to Cart online, right? It's a highly predictable, project-based workflow following 5 distinct steps. Step 1 is requirement definition. That's where you finalize your gross vehicle mass, tank capacity, and chassis brand. Step 2 is configuration confirmation, where you painstakingly review the technical drawings and pump curves. Step 3 is the actual production period. Step 4 is the FAT, the factory acceptance test, which we'll unpack in a second. And finally, step 5 is shipment. Notice that shipment is highly recommended via RoRo, roll-on/roll-off vessels. This specialized shipping method keeps the vehicle safely inside the hull, protecting it from highly corrosive salt air while it's in transit across the ocean.
30 to 60. As for that production period back in step 3, you're generally looking at a standard time frame of 30 to 60 days. However, if your municipality requires specialized high-reach aerial ladders, that timeline can easily stretch to 90 days or more. That's simply because of the extensive hydraulic testing required for those complex, life-saving aerial components. You definitely don't want to rush that.
Factory acceptance test, or FAT, a critical evaluation phase before shipment, where a third-party agency tests pump priming time, monitor range, and fully loaded vehicle stability. So the crucial point here is this. If you can't physically fly out to the manufacturing plant in China yourself, you must hire a recognized third-party agency, like SGS or Intertech, to perform the FAT. They basically act as your eyes and ears on the ground. They'll test the pump's priming time, measure the monitor's exact throw range, and make sure the vehicle is completely stable when fully loaded with water. It guarantees that all your strict engineering requirements are genuinely met before the truck ever boards a ship.
Section 6, long-term value and support. Now remember, a fire truck is a 15 to 20-year investment. When looking at budget-friendly options over a lifespan like that, buyers usually weigh new Chinese trucks against used Western trucks. It's really important to look at this impartially. Used Western trucks certainly offer a lower initial purchase cost, no doubt about it. But on the flip side, a brand new Chinese fire truck provides a full 12-month warranty on the superstructure, it completely aligns with modern emission standards, and crucially, it has zero mechanical fatigue. That lack of hidden mechanical wear and tear heavily contributes to its long-term value and reliability. Over those 15 to 20 years, the availability of wear parts, things like pump seals, valves, and electrical relays, is absolutely essential. The good news? Because a lot of these trucks utilize global components, like Cummins engines or Allison transmissions, finding local mechanical support is often surprisingly accessible. Plus, you can customize these trucks heavily for your crew. You can opt for custom double-sab cabs designed to accommodate 2+4 or 2+3 crew members, completely equipped with integrated SCBA, that's self-contained breathing apparatus, brackets built right into the seats. It's pretty slick. Knowing the exact mechanics and compliance required, what specific fire risks and terrain constraints will define your next apparatus? And that brings us to the end of our explainer. We've covered the global shifts, the engineering of the chassis and pumps, the strict compliance laws, and the exact procurement workflow. I want to leave you with that provocative thought. Take this structured roadmap, assess your local environment, and build exactly what your community needs to stay safe. Thanks so much for learning with us today.